to another episode of No Budget, the show that just gets a little bit better each time you watch it.
And cheaper.
Yeah, and cheaper. Notice we have no alcohol this time. Our budget has depleted. Alright, so, sorry, the show for No Budget Filmmakers by No Budget Filmmakers.
You know the thing.
If you've seen it more than once, you know what the fuck it is.
Episode cheated. Episode 4. Don't give a shit.
I fucking hate this show. I could be out doing something fun tonight.
I could be a drunk.
Alright, let's get to it. So, this week, none of us have movies to bring to the show.
I do.
But we have a subject about movies.
Yeah,
Go first.
and I have a clip that I'm going to show. Okay,
Okay, great.
So we talk a lot about independent filmmakers trying to get their work out there and getting exposure, hopefully of the non-indecent kind. Anyway, so one way of doing that is to make a fan film. A film that is for fans of a particular type of genre. It's usually sci-fi of some kind. So the kind of shows that are popular in fan films: Star Trek, Star Wars, X-Files, Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, Doctor Who, all that kind of stuff. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because it can be a great stepping stone to obviously bigger and better things for filmmakers, right? So you're tapping into an existing established audience, first and foremost. So we talked last night about Project Axanar, for example, which is massive, this Star Trek project.
It's brilliant, yeah. So, yeah, for anyone that doesn't know what this is it's a Star Trek fan film. And, you know, Star Trek they've really kind of been okay with people doing fan films, but the reason why this one ended up in the news is it's so good that it's actually making the new Star Trek movies look bad, which isn't hard to do.
Because JJ just
We're
flushed
just
it out
so
of
nice to
toilet.
JJ here.
Really?
JJ, if you're tuning in,
Almost as many lens flares as we've got going on right here today.
But yeah, the reason why we were talking about this is because they did a funded campaign.
They did Kickstarter,
$1
million bucks. Or
yeah, a ton of money. They've got actual people from actual previous Star Trek incarnations in it. The preview looks brilliant. And so basically what happened is Paramount is now suing them because they made a fan film that's too good.
CBS, Paramount have come out. I think were they owned by Viacom? Are they still owned? But anyway, whatever, they've come out and they've basically given the cease and desist orders. Now I think one of the other reasons probably is because the Kickstarter was so big. Now usually these things are quite small. Usually there's no Kickstarter at all, and they literally just have to survive.
two lads in the basement with two lightsabers.
The one that I'm going to show is called Star Trek Continues, and they've got the lighting and the sets and the costumes and the makeup exactly like the 1960s show. You cannot tell the difference. It's incredible what they've done. But the point that I was making was that this is just an amazing production, Axanar in particular, and I think Paramount were like, you raised £1 million, are you sure you need all that money? Because you can't make any money out of it. That's the trade-off here is if you make a fan film, it's someone else's property. So you can make it, you can get exposure, you can put it on IMDb, you can do all of that stuff, but you can't make a penny out of it. Yeah. And they're worried that you could be profiteering out of this somehow.
And I can see that point of view, honestly. Like, as much as I dislike the recent iteration of Star Trek, I do see that it is intellectual property that they own.
Yep.
And these people are potentially stealing that property.
Yeah.
It seems to me that it's such a weird way to go, I often complain that kind of, we've got like a 9th Star Trek movie or another, all these huge movies, they just keep going, they drag it out like Creed, one of the worst movies ever made, Did
you watch Creed?
I did, yeah, and it was just like painful, But so now you've got kind of independent movie makers doing the same, they're cloning kind of, they're taking something...
My point is, at least those fans, they have a love of what they do. I understand what you mean. At least they're doing it for the purity of the production. They can't make any money out. Maybe that in itself, the amateur aspect.
That's a very nice way to look at it, but they're probably doing it to get recognition for their art and kind of hope to get move their career on.
As well as that, though, if for
in the
filmmakers,
most uncreative way possible.
Right, exactly. Well, you're confined into someone else's kind of bottle there, what you can do. But in a sense, at least for a lot of filmmakers who haven't got a clue about coming up with a story, at least they have like
a pre-made
tools.
story.
Yeah, they've got some universe.
A pre-made story with a pre-made lookbook with
Well, you can mess around. I mean, Axanar is very different. But my point is that there's been plenty of examples of people who've gone on and gotten industry experience, directing, acting, visual effects, all that kind of stuff from these films. So
Like who?
I can't think of them now, but I know that there has been people who've gotten tapped up by this.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's a good opportunity, like, to get some experience.
Exactly. Shall we show a clip of Star Trek Continues right now?
Okay.
Do it. Let's do it. Here it is.
Come in.
How are you enjoying your quarters?
They're lovely. I'm feeling very spoiled, Captain.
I'm glad. I brought you a book. You said on the bridge that you read. I thought you might enjoy it.
A gift. Thank you. What's it about?
It's about a once great Earth civilization that collapsed from within due to its own moral decay.
That sounds like something that could happen on Orion.
It could happen in any culture where people forget the ideals that made them great.
So my subject for today is independent filmmakers, especially like a lot of the no-budget ones that we meet, how they describe their film, and it makes me want to punch them in the face. And so basically, here's my example. So describe it. Oh, really? Oh, you're making something? That's interesting. What's it about? Oh, well, it's really complicated. It involves like a love triangle with such and such, and it's kind of like, Quentin Tarantino meets, Gloria Estefan.
That's not
The bastard love child of Miami Sound Machine. Ooh, what's that turn out like? Don Johnson?
And it's just funny, and then they go into basically telling you the entire film, right? And then it's like, okay, well, it starts out, and it's a couple, they're out on a date, and they go on, and like fucking 10 minutes later, you're like, Jesus Christ, you're not making something new, it's all but just describe. It's the typical
But the
elevator
people that
pitch
don't,
problem.
yeah, just to say they
And
don't understand an elevator.
It fucking drives me nuts. Like, I was talking to somebody.
Kind of a crime. It's kind of a thriller.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit of sci-fi, but it's also like a drama. It's like
It's kind of like the X Factor as well.
It's really difficult to describe, and I just want to be like, yeah, because you're making something that's never been done before.
Yeah.
That's why it's fucking difficult to describe.
Or is it because you haven't thought of that?
Yeah, totally. And it's like, how do you expect to get your stuff seen if you can't briefly describe it in a way that gets people interested into it? And it's really knowing, like, the example often used is how Steven Spielberg describes Jaws. It's not even like a story about a killer shark, it's a story about greed. And it's basically, that's the summary, and he does it in a fucking sentence.
Yes, yeah.
Yet we've, and there's a lot to it. And, oh, my film, well, it's okay, so it's got this lesbian love triangle, and there's such, like, a cop shows up, and
then there's a.
But like he's not really a cop. It's like
turns out. And then the twist at the end is they're all vampires.
So in other words, what they haven't got the elevator pitch down. That's what you're complaining about. And what they start to do then is, when you ask them what it's about, they start to say things. They start to throw in a little bit of plot points, bit of narrative, and then throw in the themes. Whereas just give me the central bang, just that tag, whatever, and that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, I recently did one that we filmed this week called Decisions, right? And when I tell people about it, I'm like, it's a core group of people that used to know each other in school, and they're brought back together by a bad decision that one of them makes. And that's literally it. And I mean, I could go into more detail and be like, well, one of them is, the big jerk, and the other one is slowly bleeding to death on the sofa, and, and on and on.
And then there's this other guy who comes in?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, you basically told me about the entire film, and you did it in a way that made it sound completely uninteresting. So, that's it. It's like, it's a film. It's a group of people that knew each other. One of them makes a bad decision, and it fucks up the rest of their
He
lives.
just used this as a
promo tool for
Coming to theaters near you. No, I just want to use that as an example.
What will the rating of your film be? If you gave it a rating, what would
2 X's. So not quite a triple X movie, but a little better than a single X movie.
really? Partial nudity.
All right. Enough about me. But that is my pitch.
That's your bitch? Or your pitch?
Bitch about people
Okay.
pitching.
Bitching
My
about
bitch
life.
It
is...
sounded like a pitch and a bitch.
No.
That's my pitch, bitch.
I was going to use... Okay, tell me about the last film you directed.
The last film, what?
The last film that you made. Tell me about the last film that you made yourself, that you directed. The one that you did, your 1 month challenge film.
I have
Describe
no idea
the film
what
to me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just describe it to me, Adrian.
Describe it to you.
Yeah, tell me about the pitch.
It's about a man in a troubled relationship.
Uh-huh.
I haven't seen it.
Great. Alright,
Well,
well,
that's fucking succinct, isn't it?
I guess that
In the
works.
60s.
In the 60s, even better. There we go.
On a spaceship. back in time.
I just want to talk about maybe how many hats you should wear in your production. You know, see people who kind of writer, director, editor.
That was not planned,
Yeah, I
by
know.
the
That's a
way.
great bit.
We just happened to throw that
Yeah.
up there, like that's good.
Yeah. Is there a kind of sweet spot there? You know, being your own writer, director, editor. Is that a good amount of hats to wear? Is that too many? You know.
And does the ego of the person increase if they're the
Yeah,
actor,
I
the
think
writer?
you know, and also is there, you know, if you're really professional, you should be able to let tasks go, to delegate stuff. Where's the you know,
Yeah.
sweet spot? Where's the kind of oh, you're great, you're doing everything, to oh, you're an idiot, you're doing everything.
But
you know, I got the
also-
sound, I got the boom, I got the camera, I'm gonna act in it. It's like.
But to those people who also are just biting off more than they can chew, not realizing, because that will ultimately compromise the
It's
quality.
detrimental, definitely.
Yeah, it's hard because sometimes you have to take on some of those roles.
Yeah, sure.
And sometimes, yeah, you're a bit of a control freak and you take on those roles and don't delegate them when you should. So, I've never personally directed and acted in my own stuff just for that very reason that I don't think I'm good enough. Well, technically, I don't think I'm good enough at either to do both. But I know people who have. And same thing with, I think sound has it easy too, because it's harder for the director to take over sound, because they're sitting there with their little headphones and it's like, sounds good.
Yeah.
To whereas it's easier to take over camera, you know, and be like,
Yes,
oh,
yeah,
like,
definitely.
oh no.
Well,
That
certainly
kind of stuff.
writer-director seems very simple to me.
I think
Absolutely.
the director's almost for
You're not doing them
is really
simultaneously.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And editor is even fine too, because I mean that's post. You're editing it.
So it's 3 stages. I mean, writing is pre, and then directing is, and then
Yeah,
after. So.
I would say that should be your.
But
your
producing can be. I mean, some want to do it that way. Maybe some organizational directors feel very much like doing the logistics and getting everything right. But others, I mean, I wouldn't want to do that. I just want the visual, the vision, the story, the narrative. I don't want to be worrying about everything
Yeah.
else that's going on and managing production.
You know, I would have thought almost, you know, being a director and a cameraman. You know,
Well, yeah, that's your
I think
thing.
that's a very hard thing to do, because you can't you don't have space from it. You almost think the director should be looking at the bigger picture, and
Yeah.
kind of, I would have thought that was hard. But you know, Baz Nolan, we Barry Nolan, we had, I
Episode 2, check it out.
yeah,
Anybody
I
watch it?
helped out in a shoot he did recently, and he's just so kind of comfortable and competent at doing those two things together, you know. So
Yeah, I think
you know,
I'd
can you
rely
be a
on-
writer, director, cameraman, editor? I mean,
Well, sure, it's possible,
Yeah.
but I think I personally would want to rely on someone who had that, like a really good DOP who had an eye for those
Yeah.
kind of things. Who would
but
just
then
be-
if you've written it, you have that vision. And I think
Yeah.
that's why the writer-director thing is, certainly for an indie small thing, that's a perfect combination.
Yeah.
Because you're not trying to reinterpret something. You had the vision, you kind of know, you know, where it's at. And maybe that's why, if you've done that, maybe shooting it as well isn't, if you've got those skills,
Mhm.
you know, and if you can manage to do the two on the day, it's not a bad option either. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we saying? Don't take on more than you can do, or don't be an egomaniac and take on more than you can
I
do?
don't know, I
or
don't know.
Know your limits.
yeah, maybe, you know.
But then again, there's those Godzilla directors who just want to micromanage absolutely everyone and everything on the set, who are excruciating to work for, and they may as well be doing everything because they just won't let anybody have any level of autonomy. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the director, it is what you say goes. Do you know what I mean? I think that's got to be the kind of
But I still want people to be able to come to me with, you know, ideas and
Yeah.
their own.
If I wanted to hear your ideas.
I think that is a key aspect of a good director, though, is to be open to those ideas and so people feel comfortable coming to you and saying, well, what do you think about this, or let's do this, and then having that discussion. Because I have been on sets with people where they're like, no, this is it, and you're kind of like, well,
You just stifle all the creativity.
you really
then,
do.
like, yeah.
And the idea might be a crap idea, but at least be open to it.
Exactly.
And
And you know, when somebody comes to you with a terrible idea, you listen to it, you kind of go, listen, no, I can't do that. At least they feel free to come to you again.
Yeah.
And you know, the third idea might be, oh, that's fantastic.
Or even try to explain why and be like, okay, yeah, I see why you came to me with this idea, but the reason why I'm saying no to it is because of this. Because
Shark's never going to fit on the
yeah,
skateboard.
exactly.
It wasn't that kind of movie in the
you know,
film.
I have this vision for it, and in the vision this is the reason why I'm not going to go along with that idea of yours. That's what I do, and then I beat people.
Oh yeah, you had a stick. Yeah.
Oh, it's true. I did have a stick. Yes.
A hitty stick. Wow.
Do not come.
I'm
closer than
emotionally
the leg of the
scarred
It's
from
the stick in his pants.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it is a good subject. Well, that's it for today. We have Alessandra Usai. We will be interviewing her today. She did a fantastic documentary that is out there, and
The world.
like when he said out there, I wasn't sure if
It's out there.
Out
It's
there.
out
It's
there.
really out there.
it's out there in the world. And always tell your friends about this show. Tell them to subscribe to it. Tell them to watch it over and over and over again.
To improve our YouTube metrics.
And give us a thumbs up, and even if it sucks. And at that,
I wanted to say the dislike buttons, but then only it left.
and that, we will see you next time. Have a good night.
See you later.